All right, welcome back to Life Fit with DVD. Thanks for being here. Today, I wanted to talk about how to evict the voices that are not yours in your head. And, maybe it's not in your head or anything like that, but it feels like it's in your being, right? I think all of us have had people that have come into our lives that, end up kind of trying to dictate to us who we are and, really try to, make us, put us into a box that we don't fit in, right? That we don't that we're not part of that box, right? Like we know it. They think that we are in it, but they don't really seem to know us or understand us in the first place. They might think they do, but they actually don't. And ultimately, it's for us to decide, what is us and what is not, and it's not for somebody else to be able to tell us that. So when we have these relationships with people, that end up telling us these things, we might think that they aren't, damaging our psychology or sense of self or anything like that. However, right, there might be a part of us that considers that what they said has some sort of truth, and it makes us wonder, right? Well, what if we, don't have it? What if we aren't good enough or as skilled enough as we think we should be. What if our performance isn't good enough, or what are people going to say? Like, how are they going to react? What if we just aren't worthy of love, or what if we aren't worthy of friendships or kindness, or just things that are just basic things to life, right? Things that we're all worthy of, that we are all deserving of. It's just, for some people, right, things might not be unconditional. They might be very conditional because that's how it was for them. So when we have these relationships with people, chosen or not, that we're in the influence of in some way, shape, form, capacity, right? That sort of voice, right, can get lodged in ourselves, whether we like it or not, especially when, we're younger and we're not aware of, you know, how these things, how negativity and, these frequencies of lower vibrations end up, getting into our essence, our aura, and really messing with our minds, our psychology, our emotions, and ultimately our essence, our identity, right? So when we think about this, right, these voices, right, these voices that are from all of the people that we have experienced in life, that have told us that we can't do this or that or whatever, doubt us, blame us, say we don't have it. These are not us. And you might have to stop and think, where am I being negative on myself? Where am I holding myself back in life? Because if you stop and just start evaluating these things and start questioning, well, what's holding me back? Usually it's a little voice in your head that's actually saying something to you that is stopping you from taking that leap of faith. It's stopping you from, being courageous and, putting you in a state of fear that, I don't know if I want to do this. So what could go wrong, right? Just putting you into a negative frame of mind that eventually just talks you out of whatever it is that you're, that you felt like doing in the first place. And especially something that could be beneficial for everybody else, not just in a selfish way where like, oh, I just want to eat this whole box of donuts. And the voice in your head is like, oh, you don't have the ability to do that. No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about things that would make everybody's life better, right? Oh, what if I started this blog, right? Maybe it could benefit some people. Oh, well, I don't have time for that. Or you don't have time for that. You're not skilled enough of a writer. Or, these sorts of voices that, get in and just, they're very subtle. They're very quiet, right? They're not really that loud, but they're enough to kind of talk you down and be reasonable, right? Be reasonable with what you're thinking about here, and sure, some of these voices may have some wisdom to them, but at the same time, you have to ask yourself: is this really you? Is this really your voice? Is it really the voice of caution and temperance and reasonableness, or is this a voice of somebody that has undermined you in the past and intentionally shifted you away from who you really are? And especially if you feel, or if you see a pattern where you have these ideas of inspiration and inclination towards doing something, or being something, or using your imagination, and it's like, oh, that'd be cool, right? And then that voice comes in and talks you down. It might not be yours. So you have to go back. This whole process starts with going back and thinking about, when I have these moments of inspiration, where in the process am I talking myself down? And it usually isn't obvious. It's not a conscious thing, because you typically wouldn't, be conscious of something like that. But if you might find yourself, watching TV or playing a video game or doing some other sort of work, and there's this analytics happening in the background of like, oh, maybe I should do that. And then, that voice comes in, it's like, oh, no, we don't have time for that, right? Identify it. Ask, is this me? Is this me? Is this who I want to be, right? Am I actively putting myself down because this is me? Or maybe I can find some time to do this thing that I want, and just try, right? Just take a step that direction and see how it feels. But as I always talk about on this channel, this whole process starts with awareness. It starts with being able to identify where in this process, because it's not a conscious process, but where in the pattern of our daily life that subtle voice starts just playing that tape. And is it the same tape? Is it the same sort of limiting beliefs, voice, that sort of thing that we've heard before? I think if you actually sit and you write down these things, you'll find that, there's a little bit of a pattern. There's a bit of a correlation with what you're finding, how you're thinking about things, and maybe talking yourself out of situations that would be pretty good or unique for you. So, to that end, it starts with becoming aware, putting it down, making it something tangible, seeing, and reviewing it, and highlighting, hey, has this happened before? And then listing the reasons that you maybe should do this thing instead of why you shouldn't. And focusing on that positive aspect might give you enough motivation to kind of just take one step, right? Just take one step to see how it feels. And, well, you might take that step. It might be exciting, right? It might give you energy. It might be something that you then end up saying, yeah, I want more of this. But on the other hand, maybe you don't have time, right? And, it's something you want to do. You do it, you feel excitement, you do it again, and then maybe, I maybe you just literally don't have time. But if it's a basis of continual excitement and it feels important to you, why not just stick with it? And you you have to be aware that these voices just don't go away, right? They don't go away and they stay away forever. Taking one step is a win, but it is not winning the battle. It is part of the whole journey, because these voices will appear again and they will try to stop you again. And you might have other people that come up and say, "Oh, what's going on here? Oh, that's weird." Or, "What are you doing?" Like, or "You don't know this." Like, who are you to talk about these things? Well, we're all learning, and the best way to learn is teaching. Best way to learn is talking and trying to sort out your own experience of things, and to classify it and define it, to find a process around it. And this is how you learn. This is how you take experience, take knowledge, and you turn it into wisdom, something that's useful for everybody else. Um, and, in this whole process, this is how you can start to just mute these voices and start to get them out of your head, because you're literally doing the things that your voices told you couldn't do, or you shouldn't do, or you weren't enough to do in the first place. And eventually, they won't hold any power over you anymore. They won't even enter your mental space, because it's a useless program that you're running yourself. So I hope this helps to start to identify this whole process of, these other over analytical voices, right, that are probably not you in your head. And if you want to hear more of, more kind of in-depth look at, what this could look like, or more examples, let me know in the comments. This is just from my own experience of, people I've encountered in life, and, how I'm understanding things and breaking them down. And I think that's, it's been a very long journey, but the more you talk about it and the more you kind of understand and realize and gain more knowledge and turn it into wisdom, right, the better understanding and awareness you have of, your own experience, and then what others could be experiencing as well. So if you enjoyed this video, let me know, like or subscribe. That'd be much appreciated. And until next time, I will be back with another related topic. All right, bye for now. See ya.